it's time to start. So let's don't wait for others. And since while we are all in the middle of December and we are all in a Christmas mood and Christmas time is upcoming, I've just decided to put some nice picture for the starter. And so today's topic for this webinar is Windows 365, Windows 365 Cloud PC. So which might be a little bit confusing topic for all of us, but the aim for this webinar is to make it clear what is Windows 365 Cloud PC and why we can need it for our daily duties. So the work and customer needs have changed since Microsoft introduced Windows 10, and people's expectation and needs have evolved as we relied on technology more than ever to connect, work, learn, create, and play. So, and with their increased reliance comes requisite to adapt our technology, including software, to keep pace with people's needs. And Windows 11 comes at a time when the PC is more relevant to our lives than ever before, and take advantage of the new benefits of Windows 11 on devices or Windows 365, a service that provides cloud PC for enterprise and business. So I'm Anna Pahomova. I'm working for CloudCan, and today we will bring you to a nice journey about Windows 365 Cloud PC. If you have any issues with hearing me or just seeing slides, just let me know in the chat. I can see that. Otherwise, you can also unmute yourself and maybe ask your question during the presentation, since we don't have a lot of people, and I think we can easily discuss something in the middle of presentation. So some of you might be a little bit confusing about Windows 365, thinking that it might be just a new version of Windows 365 of Windows, but it's not that. So let me just make a step back. Think about employees working from their personal devices, or for example, employees who are allowed to install any software on their work devices. How to let these users quickly access corporate resources in a secure environment on these devices. Or another example, if you need to get a limited term team members up and running quickly with secure access to company resources, apps, and computing powers, like designers, contractors, or maybe just seasonal workers. So think about them. So how to help them to get this PC just in a few minutes and to make it secure and compliant. And that's where Windows 365 comes in. The Windows 365 Enterprise is a cloud-based service that automatically creates a new type of Windows virtual machine, which is a cloud PC for you end users. It provides the productivity, security, and collaboration benefits of Microsoft 365. And Windows 365 is a statically assigned personal cloud virtual desktop service, which means that each user receives their own Windows 10 or 11 machine in the cloud with the local profile. Just to don't make you confused with Azure Virtual Desktop, again, it is statically assigned personal cloud virtual desktop services. And the machines are really static, and after a reboot, they don't start up fresh from the image. All changes a user makes to the device, like software installation, file type association, maybe some even open files, they are still on the machine after reboot. So it might be a great example, which one of my customers really likes. When you start working at office and you are working on some Excel files, you leave them open on your work device, and then you move to cafe to have a couple of to have a tea or coffee with your iPad, and you can just connect to your cloud PC and continue to work on your Excel files that were opened while you were in office. So this is a one great example when you can work from everywhere with your cloud PC. And it's really moving. Once you move somewhere, it moves with you. Another great example, if you have a designer, just a temporary designer to create something, maybe a website or some kind of marketing materials, and you want them to access some of your corporate resources, and you want to provide them with their good computing power because they need it for designers' purpose. But you don't want to go through the long process of having a dedicated device and sending it to these people. Rather, you can create a cloud PC with a high compute power and assign it to specific users to temporarily work with your corporate resources in secure manner. So, and you can really use the different compute options. I will show you just lately. You can assign a different type of cloud PC for that. And all apps, all files, that they are always with you. So there are some benefits for IT and for users as well. So that's why I've divided into two different areas, why it's loved by users and trusted by IT. So for end users, they really will be able to boot instantly to their cloud PC, streaming their personalized Windows experience, their apps, content, and settings from the Microsoft Cloud to any device. So think about maybe remote workers from other countries. So you don't need to find the device they should work from. So you can just bring this cloud PC to them. This a quick process is also important for onboarding purpose. If you want new employees start their work very quickly and don't spend so much time for assigning a specific device, you can really do it just in a few minutes. So, and Windows 365 is also travels with your users. So for someone for field workers, for example, and it's always ready and always updated wherever they need to work. So they can pick up right where they left off because the state of their cloud PC remains the same, even when they switch devices. It's a simple and versatile Windows experience personalized for you users. And for IT, so I think because Windows 365 offers many configuration options to easily scale to meet employees' needs with the right processing power and storage to do their job when and how they need it. Let me just for a second switch to one slide for you to understand the different compute options for Windows 365 Cloud PC. So we will return back to this slide later, but just for now, you can use the different options. You can use a different configuration, which are predefined, and depending on your user profiles, you can choose either the one which will work better for call center or first line workers, which doesn't have too much power. But for example, for software developers or designers, you can choose another option which is more powerful. So that's why it's really loved by IT. So what else is important for IT? So we know that the procurement process can also be a little bit complicated for IT, and Windows 365 makes purchasing cloud PC easy with predictable per user and per month pricing, because Windows 365, unlike Azure Virtual Desktop, it has a per user per month pricing. And it really simplifies procurement, deployment, management, and updates because, unlike other solutions, it uses virtualization behind the scene. So and finally, last but not least, the Windows 365 is really secure by design and built with their principles of zero trust. And Windows 365 secures and stores information in the cloud, not on the device, providing a secure, productive experience for users. It's always up to date, and you can work with Windows 365 like with your physical devices. So just one slide before demo. Here's just general understanding of Windows 365 as a part of our Microsoft ecosystem, because it uses Microsoft Endpoint Manager to manage cloud PCs. And you can manage everything in your Endpoint Manager in Intune. And Windows 365, like just in a part of your managing ecosystem, I would say. It also uses Azure Active Directory for identity and access control. So it's important to have it. So you can't use a Windows 365 out of Azure Active Directory. And each cloud PC is assigned to an individual user. So it's not shared. So you assign it to individual user, and it is their dedicated Windows device. Assigning a cloud PC to a user is just like assigning an Exchange Online mailbox to a user. So and whenever a Windows 365 license is assigned to a user, so you just need the provisioning of a new cloud PC automatically starts. And the cloud PC is enrolled into Microsoft Endpoint Management. So with that, let me just switch to my desktop and demonstrate how it looks like. Okay, so here we are. So again, it's just a few very simple steps you have to accomplish in order to get your Windows 365. So first of all, you have to have a license for Windows 365. So here we have one license of Windows 365. So it's not assigned yet. So it's a demo environment. And we will only use the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and we will be using Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center as well. So let's start from the first step. So again, you don't need to manually decide, what storage have you assigned to specific users. So this is a package that you have to assign to specific users. So we have active users here. So we wanted to find a Megan. There's a Megan. Let's check what she already have. So on the license and apps tab, you can assign, for example, this option and just save change. So this is the first step what we are doing. So we just need to assign a Windows 365 license. After that, we go to our Microsoft Endpoint Manager or Intune portal. What we are doing here, so it's not configured yet, but for your understanding, once we have Windows 365 provisioning policies run, so we will see our Windows 365 devices here with all the rest of devices. If you used to use Microsoft Intune, for managing your physical devices. You will see all of them here, and you also will see your Windows 365 Cloud PC here. And you can manage it like, you know, to update and to apply some security policies or just install some apps, everything from here. And here is also a section where is Windows 365 provisioning happens. So what we can see here, we don't have any provisioning policies yet, but once we create it, it will be here. So, and we will see all our Cloud PC here, and we will see all custom images if we want to use some all here. So there are two different options to use a network. You can use a Microsoft hosted network, or you can use your own Azure network connection. So it requires a little bit more steps to complete, but it's still pretty easy, I would say. So let's start from provisioning policy. So I'm clicking create a new one. So say 65 demo, or you can use another name, like for example seasonal workers, or maybe designers or developers or something like that, you know, to understand why it was created. So here is a type how your Cloud PC will be joined to your network. So it could be Azure AD, or it could be hybrid Azure AD if you are using your on-premise Active Directory. And you create your PC inside your Active Directory. So in this case, you will be using hybrid Azure AD join. And here is also two options. If we are using Azure AD join, we can use the option Microsoft hosted network, which is a good, especially for demonstration purpose. Or we can use our own Azure network, and then we have to set up some more fields. So here it will be automatically. All right. So now we are choosing the image, right? So we can use a custom image, which should be predefined in Azure, or we can use gallery image. So now we have one image which is already here, but normally if you will be using an image from gallery image, normally you have a few different options to use this image. So let me just step back for there. Back, gallery image, select. Yeah, it's here. So normally you have all these images, and you can use one of them. So it depends. For example, some of your applications could work with Windows 11, some with Windows 10. And so you have to decide which image you have to use. So here is some predefined. Let me use that one. Right. So we are moving to the next step. So you can define all these, you know, language and region option, because you probably will be working with the different regions. So I will leave it with English. So there is also an option to use Windows Auto Patch here, but we will leave it here none for demonstration purpose. And then almost the final step is assignment. So how to let the system know who will be assigning a Windows 365. We are using groups for that. So for example, if Megan is our designer or seasonal worker, or just part of, you know, Turkey sales team, for example, so we will move her to a specific group, and we will make this provisioning policy work for a specific group. We have already some groups created in Azure. So, and we actually have a one we will be using, but you can create from the scratch here. You can create it here in Microsoft Endpoint Manager. You can create this group and then put your users here and create the provisioning policies. So we're using group Windows 365 Enterprise. We click select. Here we are. So it's almost everything is done. So again, there is just name, the type of network you are using, the region, the image type you choose, and that's it. So we are creating this policy. So everything is okay. We can check it here, right? So what we also needed for that is to add Megan to the group we have assigned the policy here. By the way, here is some options. For example, I want to also to share it with you. There is some user settings. So, for example, you want to define if the users can be an admin, local admin on their cloud PC or not. Or here is some point-in-time restore services as well. So you can also create this add users setting policy to put some names here to make these settings, and also assign it to specific group. Like for example, for I don't know, field workers, you don't want them to be a local admin, right? But for developers, it's okay for them to be a local admin, right? So you can put a tick here. I will discard it for now. So what we are planning to do as a next step. So here's all our groups. And I wanted to add Megan here. Members. Let me check why I'm not. Can have here. Maybe I can do it from here for now. Otherwise, there is one more option which I can be sharing to save your time. I have a predefined demo. I will be share the result once we run the policies. So I will be sharing the result with you. So let me just step back. So again, I will just repeat everything we have. So we created the provisioning policy, but we haven't put the Megan in this specific group. So I will demonstrate how it will look like just in a second. Let me go back to our webinar. Right. Okay, here's some demo which were pre-recording, and Yeah, okay, and here is how all these policies are working. So they are all here. And so once we have assigned these policies to users, okay, let me just step back and show how it will look like for end users once you define. So since we have our few people from Turkey here, I've decided to demonstrate our own Cloud PC. So how can you join your Cloud PC experience? So you can either use a windows365.microsoft.com, or otherwise you can use your Windows 365 app, which is available for Windows, or you can use Azure Virtual Desktop as well for that. So this is a pretty similar experience. So you can use different options. So I will use my credentials here. So once it's connecting here, so you just need to join your Windows 365 Cloud PC like here. So you can accept using mic or something like that. So I will be shortly using the password here. Just in a second. Okay. So and again, you can just use it from, for example, from iPad. So here we are. Okay, and join. So now you can see your Cloud PC running just in a few seconds. And again, for example, if you are just a new hire and you join a company, a day ago, and administrator hasn't assigned a Cloud PC to you, so you can just start your work, in one day once you got hired. So here's your Cloud PC. It looks like your normal PC you used to work with. It's here. You can put some predefined apps here as well. You can make some settings, for example, not allowing to use specific apps or not allowing to copy files or something like that. Everything is still from here, so you can use it. You can define a different policies from here. You can also apply some security, also from Endpoint Manager, working with your Cloud PC as well as with your physical PCs. So we've gone through some admin experience that it needs only a few steps to be done in order to assign a Cloud PC to end users. And here is how end user experience looks like. So you can start it from Windows 365, Microsoft.com, even from Linux devices. So you just need your browser. And you also can use you can also use, I just need to use my another account, but you can also use a Windows 365 application for that to run your Windows 365. And again, another option is using Azure Virtual Machine. So with that, let me just go back to my PowerPoint to summarize something we've gone through. All right, while it's uploading, I just wanna make some notice comparing, not comparing, but how to decide should you use Azure Virtual Desktop or Windows Cloud PC. Although they are all based on the same technology, there are a few different scenarios which could be better fit Azure Virtual Desktop or Windows 365. So, for example, if you have people which don't need a really high compute power, and you wanted to have a predictable cost, like for seasonal workers, it's really better to assign a cloud PC, Windows 365 cloud PC for them. But if you have someone who just working, a few hours a day, like a developers, and you want to pay per usage, in this case, it might be more beneficial for you to use Azure Virtual Desktop. So it just maybe depends on roles and scenarios, because again, with Windows 365, you have a predictable costs. You have to pay per user per month, and you can use different configuration. And another differentiator of Windows 365 is that you can assign it just within few steps, even without IT, by the way. So if you have an HR person who can assign a license to a specific user, and this user is already in a group, for example, like seasonal workers, right, or field workers. So the only thing we just need to assign a Windows 365 license and nothing else. But with Azure Virtual Desktop, you have more different configuration options, or you can, for example, run a desktop or run specific application, and you may spend more time but make more precise configuration. So it could be beneficial or it couldn't be. It really depends on scenario. So a couple of technical and license requirements. So first of all, besides Windows 365 license itself, if you are users using Windows Pro endpoints, you also need your license for Windows 10 or Windows 11. And you have to also to assign an enterprise management system from Microsoft to those users, because they are using Microsoft Endpoint Manager or Microsoft Intune to manage those users. If you have users with non-Windows Pro endpoints, like maybe Linux or Apple, so in this case, you have to obtain a license for Windows VDA and as well EMS to manage those PCs. Azure subscription is required only in case if you are using Azure your own network. So if you are using Microsoft hosted network, you don't need that. So again, it depends on type of network you are using. In terms of network, as I said, you can use two different options. You can have Azure Connect, or you can use a hybrid Azure AD for that. It's called hybrid Azure AD join. So to identify your machines here. Or otherwise, you can use a Azure AD join if you're using your Azure network, not Microsoft hosted. In this case, you are using identity Azure AD join. So you can also bring your own image for example, from Azure, or you can use a gallery, which I demonstrated just a few minutes before. For management, since Windows 365 has two different editions, which one of these business, one of them is enterprise. So if you are using Windows 365 enterprise version, you will need a Microsoft Endpoint Manager. But with Microsoft 365 Business Edition, you don't need to use a Microsoft Endpoint Manager for that. So it depends, again, on the company size. And then you can decide which edition you can use. So here is again about different configuration. Microsoft has defined a different example of scenarios of using this configuration. It really has some technical boundaries. So think about that, because in recommended apps, you can see that if you are planning to use some power-consuming apps like a Visual Studio or Power BI or some kind of these designer tools, so you might consider high SKU for your Windows 365. So, but if you are thinking about, your call centers or first-line workers, or maybe there is a good scenarios for training center, when you have to when you have this shared computers in a training center, and you wanted to assign a cloud PC here, so you might use a lowest option for from your SKU licenses. All right, so let me with that make a short summary about what we have with Windows 365 Cloud PC. So again, it's personalized. It's not zipped once you disconnect it. So if you are working from different devices, you can personalize your Cloud PC on one device, and it will go with you on the different devices as well. So you can strip your apps, your data, and I mean, it will just, with the same state you live on one device, you can just continue from this point on any other devices, even with your mobile. So you can use browser, or you can use application to connect to Windows 365. It's again comparing with other virtualization options. It's really easy to set up and scale Cloud PC to fit your needs. Yeah, so one thing I just forgot to mention, that, for example, you can scale your Cloud PC once your users need it. If you have a developer who is using current Windows 365, he or she is not satisfied with the power of his Cloud PC, you can just resize his or her Cloud PC just within 1 minute. So the only thing you need to have a proper license with a higher SKU, and you can just do it in one step to reassign, not rescale, but rather resize. Another option, which will be also available soon, when you give authority to end user to resize his or her Cloud PC on their own. That will also be good an option for software developers, for example. And it streams to any device. So if you have people who in love with iOS and wanted to use their personal Apple laptops, you can still deliver all this experience. It will be absolutely secure and compliant. So you can deliver it to their Apple PCs, to their Apple laptops, and then they could be using that on their devices as well. So if you are also thinking about people working from home from their personal devices, this could be also a good option to give them access to the corporate resources in a very secure and compliant manner. So with that, let me again just shortly demonstrate some settings here. I will switch to a desktop. Just give me a second. Okay, yeah, just again a couple of quick steps. So here you can set up a secure baseline from the scratch, and here is also a Windows 365 security baseline here. So you can create a new profile from here. And look, here is a lot of settings you can apply to your cloud PC as well. So here is some suggestion, but you can turn on and off. So here's maybe if you wanted to make some browser changes, some connectivity as well. So like that one. So it's good, a pretty fun example, or for example, if you wanted to change encryption level, you can do everything from here. So then again, you just have to assign it to specific group, and it's really very convenient if you have a different group of people, group of employees. So you can create profiles for contractors, for field workers, for internal developers, and it will be a different policies applied to this group. So you can just add new group here. Like the only groups related to Windows 365 is shown here. I'll select. Although we have a 0 device and user here, but so this way, and you create security baseline profiles here as well. From here, you can also check your Windows update here, and you can apply it. By the way, you can apply it also like for the rest of your devices from here. You can start it from Endpoint Manager, Admin Center here. So, for example, if you wanted to create a new update link for Windows 10 and later, so we can do it also from here. You can define a period of updating, enabling pre-releasing build, whatever you want. And just again, you just need to add a group you want to apply to. So, for example, maybe for developers, you want them to have a more updated cloud PCs, but for call centers, you might not need that. Okay, just next. Okay, here we are. So that's how we manage our cloud PC. And with that, I want to take a pause maybe to answer some of your questions from here. If you want, you may share them in the chat, or just since we don't have a lot of people, you can just turn on your mic and ask me if you have any questions related to Windows 365. Let me just ask if you hear me well. Maybe you're just spending the whole hours hearing nothing from here. Okay, at least Olga can hear me. All right. So let me just also share some useful resources. Okay, so we will be sharing this PowerPoint. So you can find some pre-recorded webinars. You can check the tech community blogs if you have a specific technical questions. And there is two different options to discover a different edition of Windows 365, either business or enterprise. So you can see here's everything for Windows 365 for business, and here's everything for enterprise. So they are slightly different. The target audience for them are different. So maybe Windows 365 for business is better for the small business companies, while enterprise is good for the companies sized up to 500 PCs. There are also some pretty good demos on Windows 365 mechanics. This is a good channel as well. They have a channel on YouTube, or you can check it from here. So here is some more demonstration on different devices as well. You can also use some interactive demo, and we will be sharing some recordings and materials from this webinar as well. Okay, so with that, let me say thank you for everyone who has joined the meeting. So by the way, Windows 365 trials are available upon request. So we are, as a partner, can provide you with their Windows 365 trials. So you can use it for a while to understand if it fits your needs and check how it works with your application, for example, or with your specific devices as well. So let us know. That's free from charge, and it's given for 16 days. So you will have time to discover Windows 365, and there is no specific action required, and you can just start to use it within a few minutes.